Hi, I am Gia Mills and I have been a celebrity makeup artist for the past 20 years. I'm also the founder of a sweat-friendly cosmetic brand, Skin and Motion, and I am fascinated by beauty politics and the incredible power of makeup. In True Reflections, you get to peek behind the curtain and find out what your favourite celebrities really feel about their appearance when the glare of the media is upon them. We also explore what beauty and attractiveness really means to them and exploring the hidden truths that often go unnoticed. So who is with me today? Joining me today, my guest has swapped her bikinis on the Love Island villa to her dancing shoes on the Strictly dance floor to now wearing her superhero cape as she embraces what makes us different. So with her new book, Your Superpower, out to buy now, please welcome to True Reflections, Tasha Ghouri.
That introduction was really cute. I loved it.
Has not everyone done that in the sort of, in the last few days? Have they quite a few people being like superpowers and superwoman and all that?
Yeah, it's so lovely, it feels so surreal now that, the book's out and it's a vulnerable part of myself that I'm sharing. So yeah, it's even hearing you just say it, I'm like, it's really happening.
It's real, it's real. Well, it's an absolutely gorgeous book and I'm dying to kind of talk more about it. But first of all, I want to kind of start off. Obviously, the podcast is about makeup and beauty. And I always love to go back to sort of early days of when you were young at school. Talk to me, who did you look to as the sort of beauty icons? Who were they in the day when you were young?
It's a good question. I actually really wasn't, I had no idea what I was doing with makeup when I was at school, I used to wear the matte mousse and I used to literally blend it in with my fingers, I used to do like thin eyebrows. But I think I used to look up to my mum, if anything, I would see her in the morning do her makeup. I used to look at her like, you don't need it, you look so beautiful without it.
Oh, that's kind of what you want to hear. It's particularly as a mum. And I think with little girls, they do look to their mum and just go, you're beautiful, from their perfume to everything. What makeup did she use growing up? Do you remember?
She was always a very natural person when it came to makeup. I don't remember exact brands, but she always loved to have like a little blush and very like skin tint, bit of mascara. Like she was always a very natural girl and she had love a glossy lip.
Yeah.
Always had, it's actually called Juicy Tube. Dior.
Tube,
yeah,
yes.
To Dior, yeah.
They were a thing.
Always used that. And every day I remember she literally go through a whole thing in like a week. She loved the Juicy Tube. So yeah, I used to look up to her a lot, in the morning. I used to watch her and do her makeup.
Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. How did you feel about your appearance when at school? Did you feel pressure? Were the girls, because girls can be quite competitive, etc. How did you feel about your appearance when you were, a young teen growing up?
I think at the time, I didn't really think much about my appearance. I think because I was going through a lot about struggling with my disability, I think that kind of took over, not worrying about my appearance, if that makes sense. So I used to do some crazy things. I used to dye my hair, did like ombre with like blue.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to dye my hair pink. At one point I shaved my eyebrow and I had a slit in my eyebrow.
Did you make the slit yourself?
My dad actually did it for me.
Oh, did he? How did he do it?
You literally had like a razor and you just, you just did it.
Was that a thing?
I think it was a trend back in the day, yeah. The slit eyebrows was definitely a trend. And so yeah, I
love how these trends come out. What happens?
I don't even know what I went through. I just went through a phase of just doing my own thing and just trying out different things. But I feel like also social media luckily wasn't that big when I was at school. Like Instagram just started out, TikTok wasn't a thing back then. So I didn't really feel the pressure of having the beauty standards at that time.
Because for anyone that doesn't know you, and they probably have seen you on all sorts of brilliant shows, which we'll talk about, talk me through your disability and how that could have affected your sense of self. So you say that when you were younger, you were more focused on the disability. Talk me through the disability and how you felt about your appearance.
I think when you're in school, I was the only deaf student in my whole school, so already I felt isolated and no one could understand struggles I would go through, or if I felt emotional or more sensitive, or in class, I'd miss out on so much information, but no one would understand why. And I felt like I wasn't heard in school as well. I was be put at the back of the class, when I should be at the front.
Why would they put you at the back?
That's what I mean. So they weren't being deaf aware. So at the time, there's all those elements going on. And as a teenager, especially as a woman, you're going through so many changes with your body. You've got your periods, you've got all these things going on, trying to find your identity, thinking about the future, your career. And I had such a lack of confidence even talking about my cochlear implant or my deafness. You know, I'd wear my hair down. If someone went to go touch it, I'd be like, no, what are you doing? Or I wouldn't even put my hair up. Even PE lessons, teachers would be like, can you put your hair up? I'd say no. You know, I was very self-introvert, and I wasn't ready yet to share that part of myself because I didn't feel comfortable in a safe space to do that. Like, I did have friends, and luckily I still do now, like from school. But I think at the time I shouldn't feel like it was a safe space to talk about it, if that makes sense. You know, I got cyberbullied quite a bit as well. But I think for me, I kind of thought school's not forever. You know, that was always in my head. I thought one day I'm going to be out of here. I'm not going to see these people again. And I don't, you know, school's only 5-6 years of your life, which is a long time. But once you have that goal, it goes quicker, I think.
I think kids can be really cool to each other, and they literally get very clever. And I don't think it's not necessarily done in a really mean way. It seems like it's just like that sort of finding your place in the hierarchy of school. And I think if there's anything that you've got that isn't considered in that bracket of norm, or particularly you know, when you were younger, very much when I was younger, if you didn't fit in that norm, if you didn't look a certain way, or, you know, it could be something, a mental disability, or it could be something you couldn't see or something you could see. I think kids really hone in on that. And it's really challenging in so many ways to your confidence in how you kind of get on with everybody. And I think we don't always know what people are feeling bad about. And I'm sure people didn't always know that that's what you did feel bad about.
Yeah, they didn't. And like you said, you know, it's kind of, people honed into that, like, you know, and in school especially, you don't get really taught about disabilities, you know, how to treat people with disability. And I feel like that's where it should start. You know, people should learn everyone's equal, or no one's different. You know, you may see people, you know, that are blind or, you know, has alopecia, but that's okay, you know, because I feel like that's not taught in schools. Then the kids have that mindset of, oh, they're different, that's a bad thing. And that's kind of where it stems from. So it definitely is more, because that's a pivotal age where your brain is developing, that's as a person you're developing. So I feel like now it's changing because of social media. So it does have a positive impact. You know, I think you have these influencers that share so many educational parts about disability in social media now. And that's where kids learn, you know. Unfortunately, it's not really in lessons anymore. It's all about the phone. So it can have a positive impact, but also a negative impact.
Tell me more about the book, because I absolutely love it. It's perfect for teens.
Yeah, so your superpower is not just for people with disabilities. It can be for anybody that's going through self-confidence issues, going through bullying in school, or if anyone just needs that one person to go to advice to. So it's kind of like being on FaceTime with me. We're besties, you know, you need some advice. And there's 5 chapters, but there's also a 6th chapter now, which actually got added in quite recently. So it's love, growth, responsibility, determination, wake up, and respect.
And there's,
trying to remember it all.
There's love in that. You've got the love.
And love, yeah. So there's 6 different chapters, and I really delve deep into each of them about my own experiences. So it's not like an autobiography, because I feel like I'm not old enough yet to have an autobiography. So it's more like a memoir. And I've got my superheroes throughout the book. So it's other celebrities with disabilities or struggled with their identities, and they shared like a part of their stories and how they overcame that and how they used their platform. And then what's so lovely is my parents as well are also in the book, because I get a lot of questions from parents saying, how can I navigate the situation with my child, or what can I do? And I don't know from a parent's perspective. So I said to mum and dad, this is a great time to get you guys in it as well. So it's really just about finding who you are through the struggles in life and how to embrace your superpower. It's not necessarily your disability. It can be anything. You know, your superpower can be how humble you are, how grateful you are, you know, anything it can be. And you can read it in any order, it doesn't have to be in a specific way.
That's how I did it. I was just reading different sections. I kind of read the end first, and then I kind of then went forward. But I think just, you know, touching on when you are younger, people feel so much more self-conscious about certain things that aren't good. You know, as you say, like, it could be something like alopecia. It could be even just a spot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. It can be weight. You're so much more conscious of it than other people.
Yeah.
So with you, with you know, your hearing and having sort of things around your ear that you probably felt really conscious of, no one probably else noticed it as much as you did. And understanding that these things that are probably negative, they are a superpower. They are a great thing. It is, and allowing people to feel good about the whole self and educating other people to accept that. That is when we start feeling good about ourselves. And I feel the book really does bring that to life.
Yeah.
And what's the response been so far? How have people kind of responded to the book?
I have a great response so far. It actually launches on Thursdays, but from people that have read it, especially like you know, my family and friends, they've said they absolutely love it. And that gives me good hope, because, you know, it's scary because this is very raw and vulnerable. There's a lot of things in there that people don't really know about, you know, going through what I went through as a child and the really deep things. But like you said, it's there to help others out there, and that's what I want to do. And it's really just about, you know, it's okay to feel shit, basically. It's okay to have hard times. It's okay to go through obstacles, but that's what makes you stronger, and that's what makes you grow. And that's how you overcome certain things in life. And I feel like with all these chapters in there, especially responsibility, that's not really spoken about enough, is taking responsibility, and how that also makes you grow. And talking about love, talking about determination, and breakups, how to get through a breakup, how to get through hard times.
You mentioned your breakup in here, which
yes,
I love your vulnerability in here. I love, because I think people connect so well when someone is vulnerable. When we're not perfect, perfection just annoys people. You want someone to be not perfect. You feel more connected with them. And I think this is a brilliant book. You can pick up different chapters, as you say.
Yeah.
And I recently was in a breakup, and so I was reading that going, oh, yes. And it really lifted me. And I was like, yes. And you've got affirmations in there.
Yeah.
You can say your own affirmations. You've got all these brilliant little tips, and it's so easy just to pick up and take different sections. It's not like cover to cover.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, that's what I want it to be like. You know, it can be, you can skip a page and you're not really missing out on anything, you know. And throughout there's got my favourite movies, my favourite songs that I listen to. There's some cringy songs in there, but I'm a very 2000s era.
Which songs are your favourite out of those?
Oh, Saturday's Mega Mix. You know, everyone knows this. Saturday's Mega Mix, you can't go wrong. 7 minutes long, but especially if you're at a gym or going for a walk, 7 minutes is a really good time to just listen and zone into that. And for me, music's always been my escape. You know, I love putting in my headphones and I feel like I'm disconnecting from the world. And I hear music so differently as well. So to me, it's like my comfort. So anytime in my spare time, I have my headphones just blasting other 2000s eras of music.
So I guess the hearing side, when you are listening to music, because music is amazing, it lifts your vibe. You get the right music and it literally can sort of scoop you out of a dark hole you might be in. But talk to me more about the sort of hearing and how your amazing devices, technology, how has it helped?
Yeah, so it's different to a hearing aid, for example. So hearing aids are there to amplify sounds and make things louder. So it's more beneficial for elderly people or for people that have like hearing left. No, is it no hearing left? Still got a little bit of hearing left, yeah. And then a cochlear implant is for people that are profoundly deaf or don't have any hearing left. And it's a very clever procedure. It's an operation that happens. It's about 7-8 hours. It's a very complicated one though. And I've got an internal and external part. So internal is the receiver and the outside is the transmitter. And on the inside, the transmitter, there's an electrode that goes into the cochlea. And that's how the sound travels through the cochlea to the brain. So the cochlear implant recognises your voice's sound and it transmits it through. So I hear through the implant and not through my ear. And that's where people get a bit confused. So it's I can't explain how clever it is. So I got that when I was 5. I had to go through speech therapy. I couldn't speak up until I was 5. Even now, sometimes now, do you still stutter or still, you know, mess up words? But that's because my brain is having to transmit and at the same time taking sound. So
it's tired, does it?
Yeah. So there's a magnet in my head and that's how it attaches. So I just take it off. I have the best sleep though. that's the beneficial. I
So
love it.
any loud music, any noisy neighbours, you're like, oh, absolutely fine. So beauty sleep. You'll
Yeah.
wake up looking bright and fresh and glowing.
I love it. Like all my friends are like, how do you wake up looking just great? And I'm like, because I don't hear anything.
Well, you look great and glowing and fresh and healthy today. And I think that is absolutely incredible, because having that disability, some people could have thought, right, I just want to hide from the world. You went, no, I'm going to first of all dance, which I think is incredible. And then you were on Love Island. It's like, that is someone who doesn't want to hide away. You stood up, you went onto Love Island, which I think is great for younger girls who might be having hearing problems, to see you just go, hello world. How was Love Island? How was it? Was it a decision you're glad you made?
Yeah, 100%. You know, Love Island gave me the opportunities and the platform I have now. And, you know, I was 23. It's crazy to think I was 23 when I went on that show 3 years ago now. And at the time, you know, I went through the whole audition process and I got the phone call saying, we'd love to have you. I really did not think they would have me because of my cochlear implant. You know, I thought, there's no way I'm going to get it. Like, there's no way. Then getting a phone call, I thought, oh, it's actually happening. And we had Rose just on Strictly just before that.
Yeah.
And seeing Rose do Strictly gave me the confidence to do Love Island.
Yeah. Rose Alias, who
Yes.
equally has hearing difficulty.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's been an amazing kind of beacon for people with hearing disabilities.
Yeah,
So,
she has. And she was the first person on TV that had, you know, wore hearing aids and is deaf. And that's when I was like, oh, if she can do Strictly, then I can 100% do Love Island. So her, like, I always say thank you to her, because she really opened up so many doors, especially on the TV world.
but you're opening doors too. Other younger girls will look to you and they'll sort of say, they'll look at you and go, she's doing it, I can do it. And it's identifying with someone who is like you, and having more of that on television, I think, is so important. Because I think, you know, you were on Love Island. Do you think from when you watch young girls watch Love Island, do you think reality TV is good or bad for young girls now?
Oh, it's a good question. You know, I kind of say with reality TV, it's a tough one. You know, it can be such a positive thing. So you do get amazing role models that do come off reality TV shows. And, you know, I always say, like, with beauty or with individuals, you can choose who you want to look up to when it comes to reality TV. And the thing is with, like, Love Island, you do have a mix of variety of diversity, body types, which is lovely. But also that's more about relationships and finding love. Like, whereas you've got like Strictly, or you've got other shows where it's more about the individuality as a person. But I think it depends what you do after a show like Love Island, what route do you go down? But I think you can get incredible people that do go on reality TV. Like, you've got like Ashley Kane, who is an incredible pioneer now, you know, for his daughter. And then there's so many people I can name, like, you know, that have gone on to do Love Island, but are doing incredible things, like Dr. Alex as well. So yeah, I think it can be a positive thing, but also can be a negative thing, because if you're watching TV, it could be, oh, I wish I could look like her, and that can be quite damaging. So it can be a positive and a negative, I think.
Because I think the pressure of how you look on Love Island must have been quite a lot. And what is it like when, you know, the cameras are off? Because anyone watching it on telly, you're seeing this, like, you know, these people who look incredible, but the work that goes on behind the scenes, tell me what goes on from sort of the female beauty regime behind the scenes on Love Island.
So I actually, so when the girls would get ready, we'd had about 2 to 3 hours. But
3 hours to get ready?
Yeah, to do your makeup, do your hair, everything. And in my season, all the girlies would, you know, really take the time, the makeup, you know, do the hair. I was napping on the terrace. And then literally, I'm not even joking, no, I'll say to the voice of God, as they call it, I'd say, can you just wake me up like 20 minutes before I need to go downstairs? And I'd do my hair and makeup in 20 minutes. So to me, I wasn't really that fast. I didn't really wear much makeup, you know. For me, I only wear skin tint, bronzer, blush, mascara, do my eyebrows and my lips. So that takes me 10 minutes. And in my hair, I should do a quick slick bun or just a quick little messy wave. So yeah, literally I had 20 minutes for me.
So though all the other girls taking sort of 2 or 3 hours, you were literally 10 minutes. Brilliant. I love that. But it does seem like there's all this pressure. Is it true that it's a day where you're allowed to have, like, beauticians come in and they wax and they do hair and facials. So how does that work? What happens there?
Yeah, so about halfway through, if you have like hair extensions, I had hair extensions, I'm not even joking, like my tapes were hanging on for dear life. So they can come in, just retape your hair, give you fresh ones, nails as well, because a lot of the girls, our nails were snapping, breaking. So you get our nails redone, you can get a wax, or you can get, the boys had haircuts. So it's like only the one day we have that was kind of like a saving grace day for all of us, because we were all like, yes, like we were so happy.
No cameras, you could have all the treatments
Yeah,
done.
and do you know what? I was so happy to just get fresh nails and fresh hair, and I was like, I just felt like a better person.
And is that every week they do that?
Just once.
Oh, just once over the whole show?
That's the whole, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like you had what every week.
No.
That would have been nice.
I know,
But
it would
once.
be, yeah.
So is it halfway through they come and sort of fix
Yeah,
you?
I think it was just before Casa and more.
Okay.
So you get the glow up just before Casa, I guess. But yeah, so only once throughout the whole 11 weeks. 11 weeks? Yeah, I think 10, 11 weeks.
And then you did, you know, brilliantly on that. You found a partner, which I love the fact how in the book, we're not going to tell anyone what you say about it in the book, but you have a final chapter. People have to read it. A final chapter about your relationship, what the sort of journey was, and where are you now? Are you out having fun?
I'm just, you know, it's weird. This is the first time I've been single in the public eye kind of thing. And it's strange. I'm still getting used to my own space in my house. You know, I'm still getting used to not necessarily being alone, because I'm not alone. I've got great people around me. I've got my friends and family. It's more about just being in my own, in terms of being confident with myself. So I'm trying to find my inner confidence again, my spark again, and just trying to have that refresh. So at the moment, I'm not on the dating cards. I'm kind of just not yet, you know, I don't feel ready. I just kind of want to focus on just me and getting, not Tasha back, but just getting that confidence back again.
It takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
It takes time, I think, and it takes that sort of, you just have to go through that journey yourself. And actually, when you're stuck, there's a book which is quite good called Your Superpower, and there's a good chapter in it. It's really good.
I love it.
So because you do forget, you can go back to your book and go, what did I say? Oh yes, I said that. Okay, I need to remind myself, because we do need on a daily basis to go back. But I love then you went on to Strictly, and honestly, some of your dances were so incredible. Talk me through how Strictly changed your life.
I honestly say Strictly was the biggest dream show, and the people that has done the show always say how magical it is, and I now understand why they say it. You know, it is so intense, but if you go in with a positive attitude and really take it in, I loved it. You know, for me, it's about the dancing. I didn't care about winning or pleasing the public. For me, I just wanted to dance. You know,
but that comes across.
Yeah,
how your feeling.
Yeah, it gives me
came
happiness,
across.
like pure joy and happiness. And every week in rehearsals, I was like, I just love this. Like, I absolutely loved it. I had a great partner, Al Yash, as well. And every week on a Saturday, there's no feeling like stepping out on that dance floor and just dancing and putting a smile on people's faces and making people feel something. And that's what made me happy throughout the whole time. And the cast as well were incredible. I made great friendships.
You had great people on.
Yeah, I was
and
so
the makeup. I mean, everyone talks about how great the makeup teams are. How long did they take to do your makeup? Not 10 minutes like it was on Love Island.
No. So actually, we would get our hair and makeup done on Saturday morning.
Ooh.
So we would already be ready in the morning around like 9, 10 a.m, I would say. And then we do quite a few band calls and we do a dress run. And then after the dress run, we have top-ups. So actually, we're in our hair and makeup.
Quite a couple of hours a day on the Saturday.
On a Saturday, it's from the start, like 10 till 11 p.m, midnight.
Yeah.
So it's a long time to be in the looks, but they're an incredible team, you know, especially when it came to, was it the final? Yeah, the final, we had 3 dances.
Yeah.
And there was 4 couples left. And in between each dance, there was a 10-minute timer for hair, costume change and makeup changes.
Well, you're good at 10 minutes because
yeah,
but not on Strictly.
Like literally, you just see everyone running down the corridors, and hair, makeup would be ready to go. Like, shh, and like they're an incredible team, and like Halloween looks, they are amazing.
Did you learn any makeup tips from your makeup artist on the show?
Well, actually, what's really, really sweet is Jem Flossie. She did my makeup 3 years ago after Love Island for the reunion. Ever since, she's been my makeup artist for carpets, for premieres, jobs, and she was makeup artist on Strictly.
Very good. Well, it's lovely how that happens. I love meeting people on, I've done certain people's makeup and then they say, oh, can you come on this? And suddenly you find yourself in some really exciting kind of location because you've met someone and you connect with them.
Yeah.
There's a lovely relationship between makeup artists and talent, and how when you get that lovely sort of feeling with them, it's great because they relax you, you feel confident, so you can step out and go, and it's not just the makeup they're putting on, it's also the kind of the feeling energy. It's all about the energy. And
that's why I love Jem, because she has this like aura, like such a positive, lovely person, and she brings the vibes to energy. Even when I was nervous before a dance, she's like, one point, she's like, she could go into the toilet and just like scream. She went into the toilet, found a makeup room, we both just like, like to help get the nerves out, you know. So I felt so lucky to have Jem by my side, because even the past few years, like, because she always worked on the show for many years, I'll say to Jem, I was like, I really just want Strictly, and she's like, let's keep manifesting. So it's even more magical that we've both got to do that together.
And now you're still on the journey, and you know, the next sort of stage of your life, the next chapters, working out, you know, with someone that you trust and feel comfortable with. I love that. And do you like, looking at the sort of the two main shows that you've worked on and looking at television as a whole, if you had a superpower to change the sort of perception of disabilities, what could you do for what could TV do, or what could you change on TV to improve perception of disability?
It's a really good question. I think what could improve with TV is allowing more conversations to happen. You know, I think, for example, Love Island, it's about dating. It's about, no one's really interested in that. And I think with Strictly, they're really good at doing that in terms of, you know, if you have a week like Couple's Choice, they can say, does anything that's close to your heart? Or I did the Couple's Choice about ableism. And I think that really opened up so many conversations, and that's the power of representation. And I think on TV, it needs more of that. I'm not sure what the format is, but I feel like it just needs a safe space where there's so many different kinds of disabilities, but it really is showing the more open conversations between them. And I feel like that way the younger generation have something to look up to and can watch and really relate with. And it not necessarily can be about dating, or it can be about anything, you know, but it's showing that it's okay and it's normalising it in a way. And I think that's what it needs more of, that space for that, because there is a massive gap for that. Like, you know, of course, it's amazing to see reality TV shows, or, you know, shows that do have that people with disability on there, but I think it needs to be a show where it's actually just about disabilities. That makes sense. I feel like
but
that
giving
would
it in a positive
way, like that. I think that would really do so well, that kind of format.
Because I think the reality shows are great because they amplify something. So they're a fantastic platform, and it's great that people like you and you know, Ruth House, everyone goes on to these shows and they amplify it, and by you doing what you did, you're normalising it. And I think that's a really great thing. But at the same time, you need the conversation to carry on. So like Ruth Ellis doing her sign language program, again, all these things are just adding to the narrative that just ultimately normalises it. And ultimately, like when you were younger, if you'd seen that when you were sort of 12, 13, I guess, would that have made you feel a bit different about yourself at school? Would that have helped, do you think?
Massively, because back then, there was nobody on TV that I looked up to. It was literally until Rose, and how old was I then? 22 years old. That goes to show how much back then there was nothing like that on TV, you know. And I think if that happened at that time, I would have a massive confidence boost in myself during school. I would have felt more seen, felt more heard. So yeah, it would have made a massive difference for sure.
Yeah, and I think it is changing, and it's great that it is improving. And I love just keep telling your story. And actually, because you know, you just saying to people and showing, most importantly on Strictly, you were showing your Cochlear. And you were decorating it. And it was like it kind of matched your outfit. And did you ever match it to your makeup?
Actually did a few times, yeah. So the costume team were actually amazing. They actually bedazzled it for me with these incredible gems. And then there's a week which week was it? The Barbie dance, and I had like some diamantes. And I said, okay, let's do pink diamantes. It all really tied in nicely. And it was so lovely to be able to do that. I had so many people sending me videos decorating theirs. And, you know, that just goes to show how much it really does connect with people, you know, behind the screens. You know, little girl saying, you know, cochlear implants shown, I can put my hair up and show mine, you know, that's the beauty of it.
Because it is like another accessory. It is, and you're proudly showing it rather than, your younger self would have gone, oh my God, what, you can't possibly show that on national television. But there you are, decorating it and making it a focal point of your, your whole persona. And I've, hats off to you. But the question I also want to ask, which I always ask everybody, what makeup are you wearing today?
Ooh.
What's your favourite makeup? Tell me what you're wearing today.
So today I've got the Hourglass Skin Tint.
Lovely.
It's a really nice, kind of makes your skin look like a skin because a little bit of coverage.
It's very dewy.
Yeah,
I like
dewy,
it.
yeah. I've got Charlotte Tilbury concealer. I'm trying to remember everything. Okay, so I stand by with
You love your brow product.
Oh, the eyebrow glue is so good. I've got the L'Oreal Lumi blush.
Yeah.
And contour, I've actually started using a new one. It's Rare Beauty. It's like a creamy contour bottle. I used that today and I actually quite like it.
I like creamy.
Yeah.
Creamy products. When you're young, when you've got beautiful, dewy skin, having heavy powders just ages, and having those creamy products, you just look dewy and fresh.
Love a glow. And then lips, actually, I've got the...
Yes, we were having a look at this before. So you first of all had your
Patrick Tarsh, she's bold, liner.
Beautiful packaging.
It's lovely. And what I like about it is angled.
Yeah.
So when I do the lip liner, I don't really need to look in the mirror.
And you don't need to sharpen it.
No.
That's brilliant.
You push it up and it comes out. This has lasted me a good 4 months so far.
Yeah.
I use it pretty much every day.
That's a long time. Sometimes invest a bit in products that are really good. They last and they just feel good. And also, I think packaging has really helps sometimes as well. I've got a nice gold, sort of slinky pen. I'm like, hello world. It's good.
And then this is actually newest edition. So normally I like Fenty Gloss Bomb.
You've got lots of Fenty lip glosses.
I love their lipsticks and their glosses. But this is actually, I got a PR package from by Mario.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with this. This one's called Bear, and it's like a really nice shiny lip gloss. But I like the tint.
Yeah, because it's not too pink. It's just quite neutral.
Yeah.
And on telly, people don't realise the sort of, when you go on TV and stuff, the kind of makeup that has to be slightly different sometimes, and things like gloss and certain products, you need to have a bit more to sort of make the face stand out a bit more. But those are really interesting to know. And what's your sort of skincare routines? Any sort of go-to products from
skincare? I use an Elemis cleansing balm.
Yeah.
I love the cleansing balm. It takes off my makeup. And for my eyes, I just use micellar water, just kind of get rid of the mascara. And I use Dr. Chart.
Yes, I don't know that brand.
Yeah, so I use that for my chin. I get quite a lot of breakouts on my chin. It's like a special kind of cream for that, so I use that. Because
you did a post yesterday, which I loved. Tell me about the post you did yesterday.
Yes, well actually, this is a funny one. So basically, I did the one show, and someone commented on the video. It was a bit of a passive aggressive comment saying, "Oh Tash, so sad you got Botox. You shouldn't do that. You look so beautiful. You looked so beautiful." Something like that. I'm not against people that do get Botox or anything like that, but I've never ever had Botox or had filler. Like the only thing I've had is lip filler, but that was 6 years ago.
But you're very, very young.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
Would you do it if you get to a certain age and think, actually?
No, because when I look at my mum and my nana,
good genes.
Yeah, I look at them, I'm like, you two are so beautiful. Like they embrace their wrinkles, they embrace the beauty that they have. So that's why, I've never ever been or even thought of getting that done. So that's why I went to Instagram and said, makeup can change a whole look, especially when I have glam makeup, I do look like a quite different person. I've just had my hair refreshed, my hair's a lot blonder. And especially when it's a TV studio, you have so many lights and then cameras do have filters on them and stuff. So that's kind of why I went on there and said, to show a bit of realism, I do have my wrinkles, I do have my rashes and my spots, and that's okay, So don't always just assume something. And it's not a bad thing. Like I say, a lot of my friends get Botox and I'm not against it at all. But when it's personal in terms of like, I've never ever done that, I don't want people to think that, but that's because I've always embraced my natural beauty and I always have done.
But it's good just to be authentic and real and go, look, this is what I look like.
Yeah.
Without makeup, and just saying and having the guts to do that, because other girls would see you and go, oh, she's perfect. Like when you watch Love Island, you go, oh my God, their bodies are incredible, their makeup's incredible, they're flawless. And then you go and look in the mirror and you're like, I don't look like that. And when you actually, from being on telly to go, actually, this is what I look like in reality, it just gives people comfort and they can relate to it. And I think vulnerability really makes people feel warmer towards you, and I think it connects you, and there's a lovely energy that happens there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of what I want is especially like me, I still have days where I look at some influencers on my Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, her body's amazing. Like, I need to get to the gym, I need to get to reformer Pilates. Like, you know, I do that every day.
Yeah.
And then it's hard because you do start comparing yourself. So I do have moments like that as well. You know, I have so many amazing, beautiful influencer friends that are like gorgeous, you know, bodies are amazing. But, you know, with me at the moment, I'm not even thinking about the gym because I'm not in a mindset to go back yet. So it's kind of like, it's hard. It can be like that, you know. So I do also go through that confidence of,
And
oh,
does
I
this,
wish
and
I
you,
looked like
do you
that.
touch on this in the book about sort of visual body confidence? I think you do. It's
A
a general
little bit.
It's a general thing about the love
Yeah.
of oneself, I think, which is the thing that really comes through.
Yeah.
And I love how you kind of give people confidence on this. And I'd say to anybody, if they want a book that they can go to just pick up, to just get that bit of confidence, to remind yourself, even you reading it,
Yeah.
to remind yourself what you said about it.
Yeah. It's funny because someone actually asked me this the other day and was like, it was you. I just remember from conversation, that basically, you know, I'm very good at giving out advice. I'm very good at helping other people. When
Yeah.
it comes to taking my own advice, that's where I struggle with. It's interesting, but I will take other people's advice, you know. I think I need to learn to also take my own as well.
Well, you've got a really lovely book that you can refer back to remind yourself, because I do the same. I forget what I've told myself, and you've got a book, and other people can now dip into this, which is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
So, Tasha, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's a massive thank you to Tasha Ghouri's book, Your Superpower, is out to buy now. That's it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. You can find me across your social media by searching at True Reflections Podcast. You can also explore my Skin & Motion cosmetics range to help boost your confidence at skin.in.motion on your social media channels. I'll be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favourite products, and delve deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.